Is it going? Yeah, I think it's going. Right, hi everyone, Lee Ashby here, Motocross and Speedway Memories. Just got to make a quick thank you. Big thanks to the support to Simon Pardo of White Eagle Finance. They give quality financial advice for pensions, investments, mortgages and protection. Check his website at www.whiteeaglefinance.co.uk. Right then people, this is what you're all in here for. They're coming in thick and fast, Mike. So, I'm here with no other than American MX legend, the gunner, Mike Healey. How's it going, Mike?
It's going good. How about you?
Not too bad at all. Cool. Awesome to get you on, mate. Absolutely, really appreciate your time. I know everyone's been excited about this, as I just said off camera just a minute ago, including myself. If you'd have ever said to me as a kid racing in the UK that I was going to get to interview Mike Healey at some point, I would have probably died on the spot.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
I'm no different than anybody else.
Trust me, you're an absolute legend, mate.
Just because I can ride a bike, that doesn't make me that much better than anybody else. Come on.
You are to us. You're a hero and an idol to us, mate.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. So, I'll get into the questions with you. How did you get into motocross, and what is your earliest memory of the sport?
How did I get into it? My dad, my stepdad, was a local professional racer back in the day.
Yeah.
And when he married my mom, he took off for a weekend to go to Vegas. My uncle had one of those old mini bikes with the steel frames and the Briggs & Stratton motor, with the ripcord start and all that.
Yeah.
By the time he got home, I was riding that around the backyard and made some wooden jumps. And so that's kind of how I learned. And when he saw what I could do, he pretty much gave up his racing career because he saw me taking off. So that's kind of how it took off. And what was the rest of my first racing deal you wanted to know? Or
yeah, what was your sort of, that was your earliest memory? What actual bike did you have first? What bike did you have first?
Like my first race bike was like an Indian 50.
Ah, right.
Yeah, back in the early 70s, I had a Indian automatic 50. So, yeah.
Did you get on all right with that straight away, straight off the bat? Did you come naturally to you, or?
Yeah, actually, I could ride the motorcycle before I could ever ride a bicycle. So it was pretty much, right from the get-go.
All right.
It kind of cut my teeth on the motorcycle.
So that was your first experience?
Yeah, I mean, some kids have push bikes and things like that nowadays.
Yeah.
I grew up on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that I can do on a bike, I think, just come natural.
Awesome. Next one I got for you. What riders did you look up to and idolise when you were young, and why? And did you ever get to race any of your heroes personally?
Well, one of my lifelong, heroes and legends is DeCoster.
Roger DeCoster.
Roger DeCoster is somebody that I've always looked up to.
Yeah.
All the way from his riding, his training, all that, to just the way he carries himself as an adult.
Yeah.
He's such a stand-up person in the world today. Just look at what he's done. I mean, all the teams he's taken care of and all that stuff, and he's just a landmark in the motocross world. The way I look at it, they need to make a statue of him.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion, but I wasn't ever old enough to be able to race against him, like on the starting gate, at a real race.
Yeah.
But I did get to ride with him one year when he was team manager for Factory Honda for HRC.
Oh, right, okay.
And I was on their team on the 80s, on the 85s back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And me and him did a moto together out in the desert, out in 29 Palms. He was getting his gear on when I was getting my gear on. I was kind of questioning him, hey dude, why are you getting dressed?
Yeah.
He said, well, somebody's got to test the 500s. I'm like, dude, come on, you're retired, you're an old man. What are you doing? You don't need to be doing this. And he kind of laughed as an old man. He goes, Healy, when you get your end of the day, you and I are going to do a moto.
Wow.
And so the day of testing was all done. I mean, we rode 8 hours. We rode all day. When it was done, Uh-oh.
What's happened now?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think, hold on, let me see if that goes away. I think a call came. There you are.
Yeah, we're
Sorry
back.
about that.
We're back, no problem.
Typical America, telemarketers.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, he's all, don't change, don't get out of your gear. You and I have a moto. We're doing a moto. And so, I put gas in the tank of my 85, and he gasses his bike up. He goes, remember, I'm from Europe. We do 45 minutes. Dude, that guy lapped me twice.
Did he?
He literally went around me twice.
Wow.
And I didn't stop, though. I finished the 45 minutes. My hands were bleeding and everything. And he couldn't believe that I made it 45, but, he killed me. My hat comes off that guy. He's a legend.
Yeah.
So,
top class.
And then, yeah, it was tough, man. He whooped my butt. And, all right, who else did I look up to? Magoo, Chandler.
Oh, yeah.
Magoo was one of the guys I looked up to. He just kind of had that style, you weren't out of control until you hit the ground. He wasn't afraid to go fast, and he was going to do whatever it took to win. And sometimes you ended up on the ground more than you won, but it's just kind of racing goes sometimes. So,
someone actually in the group mentioned that they sort of compared you to him.
Wow, that's a compliment for me.
Yeah.
Because Magoo is, a legend in our sport also.
Yeah.
He really was. I kind of look back. I can see it, I guess, if I look back. We both threw it away way too many times, and we could have been champions a lot more times.
Yeah.
If we would have just settled down and taken seconds or thirds.
Yeah.
But I wasn't raised that way. I was raised to win or nothing. So
I actually remember one of your interviews on Motorvision, and he asked you sort of something along them lines, and you just went, "Wow, I like to go for the race wins and go balls out." That's the way you were made.
That's kind of the way I was brought up.
Yeah.
Was if you're not winning the race, you're not doing good. Second place to me never meant anything.
Yeah.
Nobody really remembers second place down the road. Everybody remembers the winner and who carried the number one plate, but nobody really remembers number two.
Yeah.
So, so I always went for number one.
Okay, next one I got for you. Who would you say was your closest rivals over the years in your career, and who did you enjoy racing with the most, and why?
My closest rival? I don't know. Gosh, who was a rival? There's 40 guys on the gate, so
yeah.
The gate drops. They're all there.
Yeah.
And the GPs, there's at least 5 to 10 guys that can win every weekend.
Yeah, that was stacked.
It's a battle. It's not like America where one or two guys take off and walk away.
Yeah.
The whole year. The GPs are the best of the riders from every country.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's 10, maybe 20 guys every weekend that can take it.
Yeah.
So, it was a battle. But, I don't know. That's hard to say. I don't think the whole group's a rival, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
And what was into that question?
Who did you enjoy racing with the most, and why? Was there any particular guys that you've...
I had a blast racing with Bobby Moore.
Yeah.
I know we were teammates, but we were competitors against each other, and we raced against each other almost every year over there. Mm-hmm. But he was one of the guys that I could trust. Me and him would go flat out, bar to bar, and I wasn't worried about him brake checking me or doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
And, he was fast, he was smooth, he was smart.
Mm-hmm.
And he was literally the opposite of me.
Yeah. He
was the guy that was content to finish seconds and thirds every weekend, but that's why he was so good at the end.
Yeah.
He believed in the consistency. He believed that second could, get you the overall.
Yeah.
Which it proved out to work,
Yeah.
So, but he was one that I definitely really enjoyed, just banging bars with all the time. And we did it for, 30 years maybe together.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Because you were teammates on KTM, weren't you? Early.
Yeah, we were teammates all the way back in America.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We were teammates together in the 80s for Honda.
Ah, right, okay.
On the Honda 80s, back in the 80s.
Yeah.
We were teammates.
Yeah.
And then when it came over to Europe, we were teammates again on KTM.
Yeah.
So, actually, we were teammates also in 85 and 86 for Factory Suzuki when we first turned pro, 125 Pro.
Ah, right, okay.
We were teammates. We were on the same team for Factory Suzuki when we did Supercross together.
So you've had some great memories with him then.
Yeah. Me and Bobby have been around together for a long time.
Yeah, I did an interview with him. He was really cool as well. Really cool guy, isn't he? Yeah, really nice bloke.
Yeah. I haven't seen him in a long time, but yeah, I miss him. He's a good guy.
Okay, next one I got is, was there a favourite race bike that you rode during your race career that you really enjoyed?
Probably my 91, my KTM Works 250, the one that Graham Kent built for me.
Yeah.
That was probably the best bike.
Yeah.
All the way around, because I mean, we stripped it down, bare framed, and built the bike the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
And if I ever wanted anything changed, it was changed, immediately. Graham really did a good job and took care of me. So that was probably one of the best bikes I've ever ridden.
Okay, cool. Was there ever a favourite race number you had over your career? I know that you guys obviously used to have numbers based on how you finished, but as a youngster or anything, did you have any particular number that you liked to race with, if possible?
Well, growing up here in the States, we would get a different number every year, depending on how our results were the previous year.
Yeah.
But, Europe, the number changes every weekend. Unless you're a top 9 rider, your number changes every weekend, depending on the organization. Unless you have the money or whatever the organization that you ride for has the money to pay for a number.
Yeah.
And basically, the way I did it in America, I had 2 favorite numbers. It was either 99 or number 1. Or number 1.
Yeah.
So I would, if I didn't earn number 1, I wasn't going to ride number 3 or 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
I would just choose 99, and that's where I stayed.
Yeah.
So that was like my 2 numbers. If I didn't have the number 1 on my plate, then I was 99.
Yeah, I like that 99 as well. It did look good on the KTM.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of people have tried to run that number, and it doesn't work for everybody. But
no,
it's kind of one of my lucky numbers.
Yeah, I did like that. It did look good. Was there a track or venue that you didn't actually enjoy racing at? Was there some tracks that you didn't particularly enjoy?
That track in '91, the first race of the year in Holland.
Okay.
Gosh, what's the name of that track?
Valkenswaard, is that Belgium or Holland?
Yeah, I think it's Valkenswaard. I think that's Belgium. No, it's Holland or something, like on the Belgian border. No, it was right there. It's kind of by White Power's, by the White Power place, their factory back in the day. Shoot, I can't think of the name of it. But it was in '91 is where they had the first 250 Grand Prix.
Is it Halle?
God, I hate that. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, I think it is Halle.
Hub Gerlins just wrote that.
There's a couple pictures in the magazine. There was a huge first turn crash in both motos. Yeah. There's a picture of my bike straight up and down.
I see that. Yeah, I see that.
My feet sticking straight up in a group of people. And
yeah, I see that.
That is the dumbest track I've ever seen in my life.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, the start went straight down into just a fence, a big old braided fence.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you didn't have a jump out of the gate by a bike link or 2 bike links, you were screwed. People were turning left instead of right, and yeah, it was bad.
Didn't like that one.
No, never have, never will.
No. Okay, cool. Was there a favourite racing gear that you wore over your career that you liked wearing, that you liked?
Well, probably my favorite gear was the Roxy gear.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of gear that I got to ride over the years, you know, doing all the magazine testing and stuff. Yeah. I mean, Fox has always had good gear, but the Roxy gear, when I rode for them, I think I liked it because I got to design it myself.
Yeah.
You know, they were a new company, and
Yeah.
I got to, you know, pick colors and the designs and all that stuff and the way I wanted it to lay out and everything. So it was kind of neat being part of, you know, bringing that company alive. So that was one of my favorite companies, you know, gear companies.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Okay. Did you have any superstitions or anything that you specifically had to do on race day, or any superstitions at all?
No, actually, I don't believe in anything like that.
That's good.
You know, I don't. I've seen people throw their helmets before they wear them, and you know, they get these really nicely painted helmets and stuff, and they drop them in the back of their trucks or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in that. If I'm gonna scratch my helmet up, I'm gonna at least remember doing it. You know, I'm gonna go down hard and have everybody remember it. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, I'm gonna try to keep it nice looking as long as possible.
Exactly that. Yeah, go on.
Well, I've also seen people not washing like their race socks and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know, you open up your gear bag and it just stinks like hell. But
yeah.
You know, I never had any superstitions or anything. Never believed in it. So.
Okay, I'm just going to say to the guys in the group, don't worry, guys. All these questions you're throwing in the group, I've got all them covered. So don't worry, they'll be coming up. Where did you race as a youth rider? Did you travel much as a youngster, and sort of before you went pro and all that?
Well, I grew up in Southern California, so basically our local tracks were like Saddleback and Shave Country and Carlsbad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, which are pretty legendary tracks.
Yeah.
And the traveling was, I mean, basically we had one big national a year that was in Vegas. Okay. And then we went to, I think, Oklahoma, Ponca City, Oklahoma, you know, during the year. Yeah. So that's about as far as I would travel. Mm-hmm. I mean, Ponca City is like a 2-day drive for me, but Vegas is only like 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. But, you know, we don't travel here like they do in Europe. Yeah. You know, America's big, you know, it's spaced out a lot different than Europe. Yeah. You know, going from country to country is like going from state to state here. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's massive, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot different. So, yeah. But, you know, just traveled wherever the races went.
Was there a sort of certain age when you were younger that you did? What sort of age did you get to when you thought I could actually, you know, make a living out of racing motocross? And
well, I knew at probably about 5 or 6 that this is what I wanted to do for my rest of my life. Yep. You know, I knew that I was going to go for it. You know, at that age. Yeah. I mean, I was already out running and training and stuff by 6, 7 years old. I was getting up, you know, 4 or 5 in the morning, going running before school and stuff like that. Yeah. Already. And so I knew at a real young age that this is what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I did, when I graduated from high school, I went on to college just to start it. Yeah. Just to have something to fall back on in case something happened and I didn't make it in racing. Yeah. And, you know, luckily my career was very full and long enough to where I didn't have to go back to college. Yeah. So,
all worked out well.
Yeah, it paid off.
Cool. Did you have any specific big injuries during your career that you feel that maybe held you back from even achieving more during your racing days?
Well, let's see. I've broken my neck 4 times.
Bloody hell.
I was announced dead on the track once.
Jesus.
I've shattered all my ribs. Yeah. I've broken my left arm probably 4 or 5 times. Yeah. You know, both my collarbones and numerous times. I mean, my femur twice. You know, 12 bones in 1 foot. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
You know, it all can hold me back. So,
yeah. Certain times.
You know, my neck injuries is what hold me back now. Yeah. You know, because I'm still living with those. Yeah, it's not good. You know, with the pain and all that from those. So.
Yeah, not good. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other sports that you like watching or you used to do as well?
I got into golf a lot when I was coming away from racing so much and was just teaching. I was big into golf for a long time.
Oh, right, okay.
But when my dad passed away, I kind of quit playing.
Right,
so I haven't played in a long time, but I was really big there for a minute. I was actually going to go pro there. I
really?
qualified to go to Q school.
Yeah.
And my dad ended up, cancer overwhelmed him. And when he went to the hospital and stuff dealing with that, that's when I gave up, playing, because he was actually my caddy. So I kind of threw that away.
Yeah, didn't feel the same for you.
Yeah, because he's the one that taught me the sport and brought me into it and everything. And then when he was gone, it went out the door with it. So
yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there any favorite tracks for you in your career that you really liked, enjoyed?
Magura is one of my favorite tracks.
Oh yeah.
In Italy.
Yeah.
Saddleback, Carlsbad, those are two of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
And those are probably all just my favorite ones there.
Any in Europe that you?
Oh, like Magura. I mean, I don't know. There's I don't know. All the tracks in Europe they're okay. They're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them though were either too flat and too fast, and then some were really sandy, and when they're deep sand, it's not fun. You just kind of hammer through it.
Yeah.
So you just got to make the best out of the day.
Did you prefer a certain surface, if possible? What was your favorite surface?
Well, I grew up in Saddleback and Carlsbad, so it's like riding on the highway. It's like riding on the freeway.
Yeah.
It's almost like riding on concrete.
Hard part, yeah.
And so I grew up on hard packed and real dry and dusty and slippery.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny because I won most of my races in the sand.
Yeah.
I won almost all the GPs except for the one, in Holland and Belgium stuff in the sand. I always did. And I didn't grow up in sand. I really don't even like sand.
Yeah.
But I think living in Holland and Belgium for so many years, and always riding in it every day, I guess I got okay in it.
Yeah, yeah. So that was sort of good for that side of things.
Yeah.
Has there been a memorable race or meeting that you remember that sort of sticks in your memory still?
Shoot. Probably Japan Suzuka.
Yeah.
In '91, that sticks in the back of my head, and it was just because it was such the numbers game. It was so close at the end, and in my head it was a good race because I knew that I stuck it right there with Stanton, who was America's #1 at the time.
Yeah.
And we walked away from everybody else in Europe, so I knew that I was that much faster by the end of the year than all the other European riders.
Yeah.
So I stepped my game up, and I put myself pretty compatible with being one of the fastest guys out of America. So that was a really good race.
While we're on that subject, I did have a question further down the line with that. So while you're on that, you obviously went close to winning, obviously, the Premier MX class at the time, the 250 GP series, as you said. It was 4 points, I think, shy of Trampers Parker.
Three
was it?
Points.
3 points.
The difference between first and second on that last moto.
Oh, horrendous.
That's why Stan got his ass kicked before he went to the podium.
Yes, that's what we're getting to. So, obviously, Stanton was obviously brought in by Honda to help Trampus, get in between you guys. Obviously try and rough you up at some point during the race or whatever, and obviously stop you from winning the title. What sort of happened during the race then exactly? I've seen a picture of you sticking your fingers up at him and stuff like that, and what exactly happened?
He just came across and took my front wheel out. He T-boned me.
Did he?
And that's what he was paid to do. He admits it. He totally admitted, that he was hired by Honda to come in there and either take me out or win the race, and he did it. He did his job, and that's the way it goes. I mean, that's kind of racing politics. I mean, back in the day, Kajiva hired me to do it too.
Yeah, so it happens all the time.
They hired me to come over from the States, and between Vandenberg and Stribos in '88.
Right, okay.
And that's actually how I got on the Kajivas in '89 when I came back. because I was going to quit. I rode Yamahas the first couple races, and I was going to go home.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, Strivos is in front in the points, and we need you to block again.
Mm-hmm.
If we give you a work spike, will you stay and ride with us? So that's how I stayed. In '89, I stayed and went from the Yamaha to the Kajiva. But I mean, I never had to jump in there between him and Bale, because those two had their own thing going. If I could beat them, I was going to beat them. So.
Yeah. So that's I was going to get onto that. So you went to that AMA round when it was sort of him and JMB to win was it the 500 title?
Yeah. Well, see, that race in Washougal, when we were done in Suzuka and everything was over and done, it was so close and all that stuff, and he admitted everything. That's when me and Graham Kent spoke to Austria.
Yeah.
And they said that they would send out a Works 500, one of Nichols' bikes to America for me to ride at the last round. And I said, let's do it. If Stanton can come here and screw with me, I'm going to go there and screw with him.
Yeah.
And I always, my whole career over there, I rode under a French license.
Yeah.
So I was kind of brought in by the French people really really close. And me and Jean-Michel Bell have been friends for a long time.
Okay.
Basically my whole career in Europe.
Yeah.
And so let's go help Jean-Michel. So I went to Washougal. Me and Graham went to Washougal, and basically I did the same to Stanton like he did to me in Japan. I made sure that Jean-Michel Bell was 500 champion. But I never even had to touch him. He was so paranoid that I was going to kill him that I didn't even have to touch him. He went out and took himself out.
So it was all in the mind, the fact that you turned up. So obviously you let him know that you were there pretty much quite quickly, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. When we pulled into the paddock, I parked my truck back to to his truck.
Did you?
So every time he sat in his truck, he had to look at me.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucked with him pretty good.
So he was pretty psyched out, flat out then.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So you definitely got your payback.
Yep, sure did.
Okay, who were your closest friends in and around the paddock over the years? And was it easy to sort of block the friendship out once you got on the gate and race them sort of guys that you were friendly with?
Well, I mean, at the track, of course, all the Americans, we hung together, Mickey Diamond, that stuff, Peter Monet, Bobby, Trampus, all the Americans were pretty tight. Yeah. I did hang out with Jean-Michel Bale and his family. Okay. Edwin Everson was a good friend of mine. Yeah. There was a couple kids from Ireland that I hung out with and stuff. But as soon as I put my helmet on, there's no more friends. Yeah. As soon as I leave my caravan and I got my headphones on and I'm walking down to the line or to the staging area, I'm a completely different person. Yeah. I mean that's kind of why I go in my caravan and get ready away from everybody, is because I just go into a different zone. And I mean, I pretty much don't even talk to anybody in the paddock or anything like that. Yeah. Because I put myself into a state of racing.
Yeah, race mode.
It's time to go out there and go to work and handle business.
Yeah, yeah.
So, everybody that's my friend and all that stuff beforehand, you sit on the gate, nobody's your friend. Yeah, yeah. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, with you on that.
We can all go have a beer afterwards after race and stuff. Yeah. But if it's going to come between you and me for the win, I'm going to do what I have to do to take it. So
yeah, that's cool. So obviously, since your racing days, obviously I now have spotted that you're now a barber. So
yeah.
That's what you've been currently. That's what you've been currently doing now, then.
Yep, I'm a licensed barber now. Yep.
Because I see that you did some MX schools as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did those for a long time.
How did that go?
I started the MX schools kind of right after my career, and that was really good. I mean, it took off like crazy and was one of the biggest schools around Southern California for a long time. And basically just a lot of kids started coming in that were beginners and novices. Even people that never even rode a motorcycle before started becoming trainers that were just saying, "Oh, I go to the gym, I do this, I do that," and started teaching people. Yeah. And they were cutting the prices down, like cutting them in half and stuff. And so I just stepped out. I'm over it. I'll train somebody you know, if they come and ask me, and you know, there's somebody I know and I want to do it, I'll do it. You know, but I'm not just gonna run an ad and just train anybody, you know, anymore, because you know, there's too many yahoos out there doing it and making everybody look stupid.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that side of it?
What, the training part of it?
Yeah.
Stuff?
Did you enjoy training the kids or whoever you were?
Oh yeah. I had a blast. I traveled all over the place. I traveled all over the world, you know, teaching. You know, I was doing big schools all over the place, and I loved it. You know, matter of fact, one of my hair clients that I had this morning before this interview was one of my old students, and he actually now has a son that he's talking about. When he gets on to 50, he wants me to train him.
Ah, right. Okay. So there's still people.
I mean,
you think you'll go back into it?
I'm still doing it, but just not like I was before.
Yeah.
You know, I just do a couple of people here and there or whatever that are just, you know, close friends and stuff, or somebody that, you know, is a big fan that knows me or something, just kind of that comes up and talks to me. I'm just not going to do it to, you know, anybody and everybody.
Okay, fair enough. Did you have any regrets from your career at all?
The only regrets is that I didn't have the mentality like Bobby Moore did. I didn't believe in second place was okay, because I could have had, you know, 4 or 5 titles. Yeah, easy, because I was right there. I was number 3 twice. I was number 5 once. I mean, you know, number 2 once. Yeah. So I mean, I was right there so many times, just by a couple points. Yeah. If I would have been content with taking a couple seconds or a couple thirds and made it on the podium, you know, a few more times instead of DNFing because I broke bikes, you know, it would have been a different story. I mean, well, even 91, the first 6 motos, I didn't take any points. First three rounds of the season, I didn't take 1 point.
That's mad.
And it was all because I rode the bike so hard, I broke it. You know, I was breaking the bikes. Yeah. And so if I would have just taken 1 point in each one of those motos, I would have been world champion.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And I did that a couple times, you know. Yeah. That wasn't the only year I did it. I did it a couple times throughout my career over there. Yeah. And if I could have just settled down and been smarter, you know, like Bobby was, and just said, hey, second's okay for now. It's a long season. But that's not the way I was raised. That's not what I believe. So, you know, I rode it till the wheels fall off. You know, but it's, you know, I'm an old man now, so it doesn't matter anymore.
We still love you. Can you tell us a funny story from your racing days?
Yeah, which one? I couldn't. I can't think of just anyone off the top of my head. They're all funny. Yes. I mean, I've been around. There's a million out there. I was reading something last night that people were sending you and stuff on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. What was it about a hole in my elbow or something the size of
I was going to mention that. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah. That was a great comment.
People were making jokes about all the comments that I made back in the day.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Ben Rumbold said, he quoted it to his dad and stuff. It was a Motorvision one, and you said you had a hole in your elbow the size of a silver dollar. Yeah, that was it.
Yep, exactly.
There were so many cool ones.
Well, the thing is that literally I got hit in the back of the elbow by somebody's front wheel. So the nut on the end of their front axle hit me in the back of the elbow. So, I literally had a hole about the size of a silver dollar in the back of my elbow. You know?
Jesus.
So people think I'm joking, but I had a hole in my elbow.
Yeah, you just said things how they were, but I think it's just obviously... These one-liners you come out with, everyone's not forgotten any of them.
Well, it's just funny because
it's cool,
like
isn't
it? It was things that literally happened to me. You know, I didn't think twice about it. Yeah. But a lot of times I say something before thinking, and it's just the way it goes.
That's the best way, mate. Best way. My home track where I live is Fox Hill in Swindon in the UK. What are your thoughts on the track? I obviously remember watching you there live as a kid.
Actually, I like Fox Hill. It's a combination between hard and soft. You know, a lot of elevation change. Yeah. They have the big rolling whoops in the back. at least the last time I rode there, they had the big rolling whoops, in the back section, like back straightaway going in the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
They were like big Supercross whoops, big round ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I rode there a couple times on a 125.
Yeah.
And I had a blast riding there on a little bike.
Yeah.
I rode there on a 500, and man, that's a handful riding there on a 500.
Yeah.
The bike gets heavy in the sand and all that stuff, but on a little bike that track's a blast.
Yeah.
It's tough on a big bike, but it's fun. It's a good track.
I've seen plenty of pictures of you there, entertaining the crowds and scrubbing the jumps.
But England always has a good. I don't know what racing is like anymore over there, but
yeah,
back in the day, England always had a good turnout at the races.
Yeah.
No matter where the race was, the GP was in England, we always had big turnouts. And there was always people lining the track.
Have you seen online? I don't know if you've seen where they do it now, the Mattley Basin. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
You'd have definitely liked that track. It's all big jumps and yeah, the atmosphere there is pretty cool. They had a Motocross Donations there in early 2000 something when Stefan Everts retired. But yeah,
okay.
So you'd definitely like that.
Yeah, I got to look out for that.
Yeah, it's really nice. I heard you were sponsored or was associated with the band Guns N' Roses during your career.
Yeah, for about 5 or 6 years I was sponsored by them.
So how did that come about, and what did that involve, the sponsorship? What did they do for you? How did that?
Just hooked up with them in a bar in LA one night.
Yeah.
Was back in the 80s. I was at a bar in Hollywood, back in the long hair days.
Yeah.
When everybody had long hair and the glam bands and all that stuff. And,
yeah.
The heavy metal days. And I ran into them. And they actually knew me from Crusty Demons and all that stuff. And
yeah, I remember that.
We just started talking and everything and hanging out. One thing led to another. I ended up becoming a tax write-off for them.
Ah, right, okay.
They were, a new band, and they were getting big and started making more money, and they knew what to do with.
Yeah.
And I became a tax write-off,
Ah, right.
Basically, that way, instead of just throwing money away, they gave it to me. And, they got their publicity out of me, with the helmet paintings and things like that.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was neat.
Yeah, very cool. What do you personally yourself feel that your best achievements were in motocross, and why?
My best achievements, huh?
Yeah, what would you say they were?
Probably winning the 250 Grand Prix in San Marino, Italy. That was the first 250 national or GP that I'd won ever.
Yep.
But I won it on Father's Day.
Ah, right, okay.
And I got to call home, from the paddock, from their phone, and wake my dad up and tell him Happy Father's Day.
That's awesome.
As a winner, just got off the podium and had my trophy in one hand, bottle of champagne in the other hand, and I got to call him and tell him, hey, Happy Father's Day, I just won.
Wow.
And that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's very special then to you.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool.
That was probably one of the most special things.
Yeah, very nice. I like that one. What particular race team did you really enjoy being part of, and why?
Probably, when I first got over there, the KTM team that I had with Coast and Mean in Holland, when I on my 125s, I was with a Dutch family, a family out of Holland. I lived with them and their daughter and stuff, and traveled with them. That was one of my favorite teams. Mm-hmm. We were really tight. They actually helped me learn to speak Dutch and all that stuff, and basically brought me into their family. And then I turned around, and when Coast retired, I went and worked with Graham Kent and moved into Belgium and took off with that team. Yep. And those two teams together were really probably the best teams out there for me. Yeah. Because Coast and Mean, I was young. I was 18, 19 years old, and it was like having mom and dad there with me. They were taking care of me, and everything was good and looking out for me.
Yeah.
Keep my head straight. And then when I went to Graham Kent, I was in my 20s and, becoming a man, and, I got to do a little bit on my own and things like that. So it was kind of the next level, next step up.
Yeah.
So those two were really good. Those were probably the two favorite teams that I ever worked for, and were part of.
Brilliant. Was there any particular riders over your career that you didn't get on with too well, that you didn't like racing with? Was there any guys like that?
I don't know. I still don't really care for Stephon Everts.
Oh, right, okay.
I really don't give a shit about him. I mean, personally, he never really did anything other than he's just a mama's boy. He's one of those guys that has never ridden a production bike his whole life. And when we were on the team together, everything was given to him. The better bike, the better mechanic, everything was given to him. And he hadn't even done anything yet in the 250 class. I just have bad feelings about the guy. And it's probably not his fault.
Yeah.
Because he was just there doing his job. Mm-hmm. But every time I got near him, like the first round we were in practice and he got close to me, so I kind of bumped him out of the way. Just hey dude, you got to learn a little respect here. Mm-hmm. There's a number 2 on my bike for a reason. So I kind of bumped him around a little bit, and sure enough, the team manager pulls me off the track and yells at me and threatens me, and I get on the bike the next week and it's slow. So.
Did you feel like that it was just sort of built around Stefan then, type of thing?
Oh yeah, it was totally built around Stefan. I mean, it was so much built around him that literally my second mechanic was his dad.
Yeah.
How's that work? I'm number 2 on the bike. It's his first year in the 250 class, and his dad's my mechanic. I mean, come on, that's a little hokey. They literally promised me that I was supposed to have the exact same team as the prior year.
Yeah.
The same mechanic, all that stuff. I was supposed to stay at the same apartment, everything. All I was doing was changing color of bike, basically.
Yeah.
And
so you want the same setup? You wanted the same setup, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Gabor's promised me. He promised me that Graham was going to be my mechanic.
Yeah.
I was going to stay in Hasselt. Everything was going to stay the same.
Yeah.
We were just moving Suzuki in and KTM out.
So you could stay with the same thing, yeah.
Exactly. And absolutely none of that happened.
Yeah.
Not one thing. He didn't hold up to one thing that he promised.
So was the bike no good? The one you were on?
No. My race bike was a piece of junk.
Was it?
It sucked so bad. It was slower than stock, than a production bike.
Bloody hell.
It was making less horsepower and speed than a production bike.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really a piece of junk.
Safe to say that the BFE Suzuki team wasn't for you then?
No, not even close. I actually, after the first race of the year, that's when I started begging to get off the team.
Was it?
I told them they can keep all the money, the contract money and all that stuff, just let me off. And Ferrioli KTM was all promising, they wanted to give me back my KTM from the previous year.
Yeah.
But Suzuki wouldn't let me off the contract.
Bloody hell. So it was a bit of a nightmare then. Especially after you've just come second in the world, close to the world title. It must have been an absolute bummer, wasn't it?
Well, then we go to Germany. Yeah. And Stefan got hurt. I don't wish that upon anybody. He got hurt.
Yeah.
And, his spleen or whatever, and he was out for a little bit.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I was thinking, cool. Now I can get the good mechanic. I get the big truck and everything. They literally put me in a smaller van and took his dad away from me. His dad stayed with him at the house and stuff to make sure he was okay. Now I'm with a mechanic that literally didn't even know how to tighten a pair of handlebars.
Bloody hell. That's crazy,
man. The mechanic that they gave me that year, his name was Jarmo, and he actually worked the previous year for Yamaha, for Pekka Vakonen on the Yamaha team, and he was only the tire changer.
No.
That's all he did was change tires for the Yamaha team, the previous year, and then he comes to me as my head mechanic.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And literally, like the first race we went to, we were in France.
Yeah.
And went to Foucault. And every time I got on the bike, like the bars would slide down to the tank and the seat would fall. He literally was not strong enough to tighten the nuts and bolts on the bike to hold anything in place.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so I mean,
that's ridiculous, isn't it?
The first race, like, every time I got on the bike, something would come loose. Like literally, the bars almost fell off in practice. I came back to the truck, so pissed off one time that literally he wouldn't get out of the front of the truck because he thought I was going to kill him. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was a bad year.
Bloody nightmare then.
Yeah, but shit happens.
Okay, if you were, who would you consider to be the 3 best riders that you ever raced against in your career, if you had to say? I know it's difficult, but...
3 best that I've ever raced against. Let's see. Probably like Jean-Michel Bale.
Yeah. Class, wasn't he?
Yeah. That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many good riders out there. It's hard to list just 3.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I said earlier, there was 10, 20 guys on every gate.
Yeah.
So I mean, Bobby was good. Trampus was good. I mean, we could go all the way back to when I first turned pro, and I had to race against Johnny O'Mara. I had to race against Jeff Ward, Mark Barnett. I mean, I can go all the way back there. So I've had to race against the best of the best.
Yeah, for sure.
Ever since I was 15 years old, I've had to go up against the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
And it's starting with America, going over to Europe and stuff. So I've had to hang it out against the best for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. It was so stacked, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, 15 years old, my first race, I sat on the line against Jeff Ward, Johnny O'Mara, Mark Barnett. I mean, they were all there.
Yeah.
My first, 125 pro race. So,
what was the story about Barnett? Didn't you have a bit of a tangle with him when you were younger? Because it sort of come quite easy to you, didn't it? And then...
my first pro race was at my local track, where I practiced at every day. So you was there.
Yeah.
At Saddleback, and the first moto going up against him, I whole shot and walked away.
Yeah.
Easy, and then I sat, back in the box stand with my mom or somebody and just talked shit. I just, this guy's an old man. What's he doing? He needs to give it up. And and he overheard me. And the second moto, I whole shot and I was taking off.
Yeah.
And 3/4 of the way through there, he caught me.
Yeah.
And just took me out hard.
Did he?
He just took me down. Yeah, he knocked me out cold.
Jesus.
And but he came over after the race and apologized.
Yeah.
And just told me straight up, he goes, dude, if you didn't run your mouth, he goes, never would have caught you.
Yeah.
He goes, you were going so fast and good. He goes, but I had so much aggression built up from me running my mouth.
Yeah.
That he had to prove a lesson. Teach me a lesson and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I got what was coming. I have to pay my dues too, just like anybody else.
What did you think of that?
Yeah. Well, it's a lesson learned. I was pissed off at first.
Yeah.
But I look back at it now, and it's the same thing that I'm sure I've done to a million young kids coming up.
Yeah.
Because the young kids always got to test the older guy.
Yeah.
You're coming in, you're all full of vinegar. You're trying to prove your name and everything and who you are.
Yeah.
And you're going up against the older guy in the class.
Yeah.
The guy that's been there for a long time, and we've all done it, and we all had it done to us that are been there. So.
Yeah.
I look back at it now and I totally understand it. I get it.
Yeah.
But when it happened to me, it sucked. But,
yeah.
It definitely was a lesson.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
If you could give any youngster that's currently racing in youth motocross, like schoolboys or youth motocross, whatever you want to call it, who wants to go pro, what would the advice be?
First, make sure that you're having fun. Make sure that this is what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you're not enjoying it, you're just doing it because your dad or somebody's making you do it, don't do it. There's too many things out there in the world to do it.
Yeah.
And one crash could end your whole life. It really can. It can end your whole career.
Yeah.
There's just so much more in this world than just motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to turn pro and this is what your life is going to be, then do it 100%.
Yeah.
You know, take it on full-heartedly. If you're going to do it and this is what you want to do, you train it, you live it, you eat it, you breathe it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, that's when you're going to get hurt, and you know, and things are going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's happened to too many people out there that have only taken it half-assed, and they end up half their life in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah,
you know, and it's not worth it.
It's not for playing at,
So,
is it?
no, you if this is what you're going to do, you got to know going into it that anything can happen, but you got to be 100% full-hearted into it.
Okay, that's great advice. There was an unreal moment when you went back to the AMA Motocross Nationals. I think it was it Steel City in '92?
Oh yeah.
On the 125, you went back.
Yeah, right when I just quit the Suzuki team.
Yeah.
I quit the team in Japan right after the race. Literally did the last moto, and I left the bike sitting in the mud on the track and everything, and I didn't even push it back to the truck. I left it sitting in the track, and I walked back to the hotel.
Did you?
And then went home, and I was trying to get a ride on Mitch Payton's team. I was trying to come home, and I wanted to ride, and Mitch Payton said he wanted me to go to Steel City and see what I could do against the other 125s.
Okay.
And the 125 that I had at home was just hammered.
Was it?
It was my practice bike that I rode every day and just beat it up.
Yeah.
So we got it cleaned up and looking and working the best we could before going there.
Yeah.
And me and one of my friends jumped in his van, you know, with the bike and some gas and tools and stuff.
Yeah.
And we drove for 2 days to Pennsylvania.
Jesus.
And got out and raced. You know, basically got one night of sleep in a hotel before it, and that was it.
Well, yeah.
And went racing and ended up second overall, but I won the second moto. Yeah.
That was like your McGraths, your Emmigs, Henrys, all them guys on the 125, wasn't it?
They were all in the 125 class that year. Larry Ward, everybody.
Factory bikes.
Yeah, they all had factory bikes and everything, and
wow.
I showed up with, you know, my 125 that it barely made both motos. I mean, it literally I shut it off after the second moto to give to my mechanic, my friend that I drove there with me.
Yeah. And
it never started again.
Bloody hell.
I literally, when we shut it off and it cooled down, like the piston stuck to the cylinder inside, and it never started back up again.
Flipping out.
So we loaded it up, brought it back home, and gave it back to Suzuki. You know, and it wouldn't run. It was dead, like it was stuck.
Oh, that's mad. Someone's just wrote a question just before I go back to mine. Someone just put, does he remember pancaking the bike on the first jump at Hawkstone in the UK after whole shot in the race and looking back at the chasing back? So what would that have been, 500s?
Or was it on 125s? I don't know.
That's a good point, actually. It just says Hawkstone.
Because I actually have a few pictures that were sent to me from Hawkstone where I have my 125. I pancaked off a few jumps.
Right.
So it's probably that. I don't think I pancaked a 500 there.
Right. Okay. It's hard work there. Hard work that track.
I don't exactly remember that. I sometimes have trouble remembering yesterday. You know, that's kind of the downfalls of having, you know, so many injuries and stuff. You know, along with breaking my neck 4 times, I've also had, just at my local hospital, 14 concussions.
Bloody hell.
So just remembering yesterday. So, you know, everybody out there, if I don't remember certain things, I apologize. You know,
that's all right. My man, top motocrosser over in the UK, Mark Hook, he put, what was your favourite pre-race tune? Because you used to listen to music before. Did you have favourite race tunes that you had?
Not really. There wasn't, anything that was kind of hard and fast.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really have a favorite, you know, because things were come and go. Music is music.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to say. I dropped my bottle of water everywhere. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
I don't know, anything that was kind of upbeat and fast or whatever that would get me motivated, I guess. I don't know.
If you've seen this thing, the VMX donations that they do over in the UK at Farley Castle, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Have they ever asked you to go over?
I've been invited over. Actually, the guy that puts it on stuff came over.
Dave King?
Doug Jubach. He came over to my barber shop and stuff with Doug Jubach and everything and talked to me. Yeah. And the only problem is I have trouble getting a passport now.
Oh, right, okay.
It's because I have 2 last names.
Okay.
Like my legal last name on paper, what I was born with, isn't Healey. Healey was my stepdad's name, but he never legally adopted me.
Right, okay.
But because I was in high school and stuff, when I got my driver's license and got my first passport, and I had my school records, it went on my first passport as Healey. Right. But now that I'm older and all this stuff and don't have a school record and all that stuff, they want something, saying that I'm either Healey or Doty or, my legal last name or whatever. So I'm having trouble getting that together, because my stepdad has passed away and everything. Yeah. So I don't have proof of that.
So it gets a bit complicated.
It's been a complete runaround. I mean, I want to come over and see the race and see everybody over there and stuff and hang out.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
But I haven't had a chance to get a passport. If I got a passport, I would have been there already. But I've been fighting now for almost 3 years trying to get a passport.
I hope that happens at some point. It would be nice.
Yeah, it would be cool. Because there's a lot of people that would, want me to come over and hang out and stuff. And
definitely, yeah.
Be part of it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to. Right now, it's just impossible, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just physically can't.
Well, hopefully that'll happen down the line at some point. That's literally only an hour down the road for me as well. It's only an hour down the road for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. If you had the power to change anything about motocross, what would it be?
What would it be? Yeah. That's hard. I would like to see the riders kind of stick together, almost like form a union kind of deal. Kind of riders that would stick together. Yeah. They've tried a million times. Like they do it more over in Europe than they do here. Sticking together. Yeah. Because there's a lot of times like you go to a track or something and something's wrong or something's dangerous or whatever. Yeah. And a couple guys will stop and boycott basically and try to shut it down to make it better. Yeah. Well, there'll be a handful of guys that say, you know what, if you guys don't race, fuck it, we're racing because we're going to get the money. Yeah. And that's the thing is they need to be able to, form a union or something to where everybody sticks together and someone, have somebody that actually will speak for them and everything. Yeah. And get the money back up to where it was, because I heard the money's not even close to what it was anymore. Yeah. And have someone step up and speak on the rider's behalf. Track's safe, everything's good. This, that. I just wish it'd be that way and turn it more into a professional sport. Yeah. Because motocross is the most dangerous sport in the world. Yeah. I mean, it really is. It's the toughest sport out there. Yeah. Every time you put your leg over a bike, you could die. Yeah. It's pretty hardcore, isn't it? And out of all the professional sports, we're probably the least paid one. Yeah, it's crazy. As a professional athlete, we make the least amount of money. It's mad, isn't it? I mean, there's people out there swinging golf clubs that make almost 10 times of what our top person makes. Yeah, yeah. They're making $20 million a year. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? That's crazy. The prize money and all that is mad, isn't it? Yeah, and now, I mean, they're not making anything close to that. They're barely making a living in motocross. Yeah, yeah. If anything, sort of much paying their own way, aren't they? Paying their own way, a lot of them. Exactly, yeah. And that's the thing. Is a lot of the pros do pay their own way. Yeah. And they're calling themselves professionals. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? I mean, and it's died down a lot. I mean, when I lived in Europe and was racing and stuff, the money was good. I made a good living at it.
Yeah.
But see, that's why I went to Europe and away from America, because in America, I wasn't going to lose all my money and pay everything out to race.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to pay to say that I'm a professional.
Do you mind saying what sort of money you guys made back in them sort of days in the 90s?
I can't even. I don't even want to go there, and because then it's there's so many people that I raced with and raced against and stuff that I had battling contracts with and stuff like that.
Right, okay.
I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, that's okay.
Other teammates and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Talking about sticking together with the riders, I remember all the riders sticking together at this place because I remember seeing it on the Motorvision and all that, and it's still on YouTube now. That massive jump that was in, is it Nîmes, Belgium in 91?
Yeah.
You all stuck together to get that jump changed, but I remember you getting that busted up lip and you getting interviewed.
Yeah, there was a couple guys that got hurt that day.
Yeah, badly, wasn't it?
At that race. What was it? There was a kid from England, I think, that got hurt.
Oh, was it?
I want to say King or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was an English kid that really got hurt and put in the hospital from that race.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
But, yeah, and what it was is the takeoff on that jump was so bad, like so steep, they didn't even run a tractor up it. It was like a cliff jump. It was one line, that was all rough and everything with a big gopher hole in the middle of it. And,
yeah.
It was just bad. And nobody was jumping it until I did it. And the first time I did it, I overjumped it by like 20 feet and I flat landed it.
Holy shit.
Past 20 feet past the landing and just,
ouch.
Smashed my face on the crossbar.
Mad.
And, I got up and straightened my bike up and I came back next practice and did it on first lap.
Yeah.
But, I mean, after I did it, only a handful of people did it.
Yeah.
So basically everybody got together that didn't do it or weren't going to go for it.
Yeah.
Got together and they just shut it down. But see, back then there were some big names in that 250 class.
Yeah.
There were some world contenders in that class, and there were some big names.
Yeah.
So when they stepped up and stopped and said, "Hey, we need to clean this up," if it was just me saying it, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I was the last person that stepped up and said, "Okay, yes, I'll be part of this. Let's clean it up."
Yeah.
Because I was already over it. I was, jumping it every lap, no problem.
Yeah.
When it was messed up.
Yeah.
So, basically they took it from being just a really big, steep, vertical jump to making it almost like an Evel Knievel style jump. It was really an easy, float over, after they cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But that was fine. That made it safe. It made it raceable.
Yeah.
So that's what we need is we need to have, like I said, get it to where everybody sticks together as a group.
Yeah.
And have one person in charge of that, Yeah. So if someone comes to them or 2 or 3 people come to them and say, "Hey, this is dangerous," he can go to the officials and they'll take care of it.
Yeah.
They don't have to have every rider come out on the track and stop practice.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. Someone's put in the group, it was Lewis King. I remember him now. Lewis King, the lad was called.
Exactly, yeah. You're right.
Okay, someone's said, I remember that. I've seen some of this YouTube footage as well. Someone's asked about the Supercross you did indoors, and it was on like a cycling velodrome thing, wasn't it?
Oh, hard cross.
Yeah, someone said flat landing that ski jump.
Yeah, there was a couple of those that I did. I did a couple in Austria. I did a couple in Holland.
Yeah.
I think he's talking about the one in Holland where I kept flat landing the finish line jump. And they literally had to nail into the floor like big pieces of plywood and stuff because I was landing so hard that the linkage was going through the floor.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was bottoming out the bike so hard that the linkage would put a hole in the wooden floor. So they had to put big slabs of plywood out there so I wouldn't go through the floor every time.
I actually see this 2 nights ago. It come up on my thing. I just was going through everything to do with Mike Healey on YouTube, and that come up, and I watched it, and it was like you were going up in the seats with the seats, and then back out the back of the stadium, and then I see your huge jump into the corner.
Well, they didn't show it. Like, we turn and go up the stairs between the seats, and then we turn, and when we went down, between the seats up on the top, that was actually a bar right there.
Yeah.
That literally there were people standing there holding beers and stuff as we were going by. People were high-fiving us and stuff as we were going by.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Can you imagine that now, health and safety?
Oh, nowadays, we're trying to do it here or something. People just go nuts,
Yeah.
Well, here, people probably end up hanging themselves or something stupid. Who knows?
Someone's wrote here, Steve Jones said, ask Mike about getting banned at the Daytona Supercross in '97 that he wanted to race. What was that about?
Daytona? I think he's talking about when I showed up with the IMS bike with my 4-stroke, my 440.
Yeah, he's put that.
I showed up with a hand-built XR 440 from IMS.
Yeah.
And this is before the 4-strokes were big. They were getting ready to do the 4-stroke nationals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I custom built from an XR 400, which is basically a dual sport. It's a street legal bike. If you buy it at the store and stuff. And I turned it into a full-blown work supercross bike.
Yeah.
I had a chromoly frame. I had the 250 rear end on it.
Yeah.
250 front end on it. Everything. And went out and practiced, and actually was putting in better lap times than McGrath and those guys at Daytona.
Yeah.
And I think I only made 1 or 2 laps in the first qualifier. And I'm not sure, I was, second or third or something. I was right there in the hunt, and they black flagged me and basically pulled me off. Factory Honda actually were the people that protested me and pulled me off.
Bloody yeah. That was shit then.
And the thing is that the bike wasn't homologated for Supercross here in the States.
Oh, okay.
And the CRF was coming out the next year. They were coming out with the 450 or whatever it was the next year.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to spend the money first off to homologate my bike.
Yeah.
Because they'd do that and then they'd have to keep my bike in, for the next 4 years.
Yeah. So
they just pulled me off and just said, hey, we got a bike coming, next year. We can't deal with yours. Because nobody knew what my bike was. Nobody knew I was going to be there. It was just something I did on my own.
Yeah.
So, but
okay.
I mean, I had a 440 that I built that pissed a lot of people off.
yeah. I've got a Keith Patstone. He put, did they use the rear brake back then? So I presume he means, did you use the rear brake over tabletops and stuff like that to get the front end down and stuff?
Oh yeah, of course. We would use the rear brake, throughout all that stuff. I mean,
yeah.
But I was always the guy that wore the front brake out before I did the rear brake. But
did you?
Yeah, I rode a lot more of the front brake than I did the rear brake. But yeah, I was known for that. Hitting the jump so hard that you'd have to drag the brake up the face of the jump just to slow you down. So yeah, that was always, tap the brake in the air, pull the clutch in, tap the brake to get the front end down, things like that.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. That's just part of riding a bike.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of us use that. I just see a question from Russell Jarman. He used to race 500 GPs and stuff. You remember him?
I know Jarman.
Yeah, Jarman. He put.
What's up, buddy?
He's put. Can you ask about the bow he would hit above the tabletop jump in Vienna Stadium Cross on the boards?
Oh, they would. The Vienna Supercross was another one of those hard crosses.
Yeah.
On the wood and stuff.
Yeah.
And the finish line jump that they had their tabletop, but they put a kicker about 2 feet from the top. They'd make a vertical kicker on it.
Okay.
And I would hit that thing probably third or fourth gear on my 125 flat out.
Yeah.
And it would shoot me a good 15 feet over the top of it or so, 20 feet over, higher than everybody else.
Yeah.
And I would hit one of the bells. They hung a bell from the ceiling or something like that. So I'd smack that thing and ring it, and nobody else would even get close to it. But yeah, it was fun.
That's pretty cool. That's amazing. Obviously, you've raced all the bikes, 125, 250, 500, the two strokes and all that back in the day. Was there one that you specifically enjoyed riding more than the other, or?
I've always liked riding the 125s.
Yeah.
Because you can ride the wheels off of them.
Yeah.
But I think I've always been faster on the 250s.
Okay.
But it also depends on where you're at, and what track you're at and stuff. It just depends. I like them all, but straight up, if I were to pick a bike, to just go ride, out to a local track, go play ride and stuff, it'd probably be a 125.
125, yeah. That's what I raced as well. I enjoyed that, racing flat out on them. Russell Jarman put, great to see you, buddy. You're a fucking legend.
Thanks, Russ, man. Love you, buddy.
Someone's put, do you ride at all now?
No, I'm not allowed to put my leg over a bike right now. The doctors, if I put my leg over a bike and just have a little tip over or anything, I could be done.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
They've been trying to get me into surgery now for 2 or 3 years, and I refuse surgery just because I don't trust the doctors.
Yeah.
They want to cut me open in the front of my neck and pull they want to suck out C6, 7, and 8 and replace them, with carbon fiber ones, and I won't let them. Yeah. Just because I don't want anything to go wrong.
Yeah.
I just been waiting for technology to get better, but
yeah.
I've kind of been just living with it and dealing with it. So I haven't been on a bike in a long time.
Yeah. You had obviously a good few teammates. Did you have a favourite teammate during your racing career?
I don't know. I mean, I pretty much got along with everybody. I really, they were all cool. I mean, the only ones, I even got along with them. I just didn't really like them with Stefan. I mean, it wasn't that we didn't get along. I just didn't like the way things went down, around him, I guess. Yeah. It really wasn't his fault. Yeah. So, I pretty much got along with everybody. I really didn't have anyone that I didn't like. So, I mean, it's hard to say there wasn't one like a favorite friend or anything. They were all friends. Everybody I teamed up with, I became friends with. Yeah. So,
no problem in that.
But when you're on a team with somebody like that, and you're living next to them or whatever, and you're traveling with them, stuff like that, you become tight. You become close friends. Yeah. So, they're all friends.
Do you know how you got the nickname Gunner? How did you know how that come about? Who gave you that? Was that like the media or?
No, that came through from GNR, from Guns N' Roses.
Oh, right. Okay.
I was their little gunner. Is how that came around. We were partying one night, and somebody called me their gunner. Little gunner. Ah. So that's how the nickname came. Was basically I was their gunner.
That's cool. Still sticks now.
Yep.
Last Christian has put in the group. Does he own any of his old race bikes at all or anything?
I don't even have a bike in my garage.
Damn.
I know my race bike from '91.
Yeah.
Is in Ferrioli's factory in Italy.
Yeah.
One of my race bikes from '80. My number one bike from '84, my Super Mini, is in it's in Norwalk at R&D in their shop. They kept that one from then. And the rest of them, I think, were gone. I don't know.
Someone's put, James Bailey put, have you kept any shirts, helmets, or any gear that you kept or anything?
No, everything that I kept for myself back in the day, from racing, everything that I brought home from Europe and all that stuff, I had given away. I literally...
Did you?
What had happened was when I was doing my schools and stuff, anybody that I was teaching stuff or training things like that, or anybody that was close in the motocross industry that got hurt, say they got injured or paralyzed or even passed away.
Yeah.
If their parents were having tough times with medical bills or with funeral bill, whatever, I would put my stuff up, my clothes up, and things like that to help raise money for that.
That was
for
cool.
my riders and stuff.
That was nice.
So everything that I owned into this sport, I gave back to the sport somehow to help money and my riders and the other people in the sport. Financially. So everything that I had went back into the sport.
Fair play.
So I don't have a helmet. I couldn't even get on a bike right now because I don't even have clothes to get on it.
Yeah. I got Mick Nurse put, how was your time with Cagiva? That was 125, yeah?
Cagiva here or Cagiva in Italy?
Yeah, was that 125 when you rode with 125 on it?
Yeah, I rode for Cagiva here for 2 years on the 125s. And then when I was back over in Europe my first year, I finished it off on Cagivas. So I like them. Cagivas are great.
Yeah.
They got a good team and they really took good care of me. I have nothing bad to say about that team at all.
That's cool.
They were good people, and they, even when I rode for them here, and they had one guy that rode off road. They had me that rode motocross. I think the only road racer they had here was Randy Mamola. They were really small here.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did everything. We had a blast. We barely could afford to even make it to the nationals. And but we did whatever we had to do to make it. It was a good time.
Yeah. Russell Jarman just said he was there when you did the Golden State Series. He rode 125, 250, 500 class all on the same day. I was there. This man was the deal. Tell him that with a love heart.
Well, the Golden State Series, I don't know if you know what that is. Back in the day, CMC organization.
Yeah.
It was so big that literally all the amateurs rode on Saturday. Yeah. All the pros on Sunday, and then like the 80 experts and stuff were like intermission on Sunday. I would ride the 125, the 250, and 500 pro classes all in the same day. And literally just, so we would have, after the first round, I didn't have to run qualifiers usually. Yeah. Because I would be top in points. Yeah. But, so there would be 6 30-minute motos, and if I had to do qualifiers, it was on after that, more than that. So, I remember one time at Carlsbad, it was like our second round or something, and I had to do 2 qualifiers. Yeah. So I ended up doing, 6 30-minute motos, and then I did 2 extra, like 15-minute motos on top of it. And they were all back-to-back because there was nothing in between. So literally I'd get off the 125 and go straight to the starting line and change goggles and take a sip of water and get on my 250.
That's mad.
And get the checker flag, go straight to the 500.
Bloody hell.
And they were 30-minute motos just back-to-back. So, and I'm the only rider in history to win all 3 of those classes overall.
So that's a pretty cool memory as well then. That's a cool one.
Yeah, that was a cool one, that's for sure.
I wanna pronounce his name right. I got Anders Lundgren.
Andy.
He put 5th. He's put 5th first year GP 125 1988. I wrenched for him, but the first 3 GPs was on a YZ. It was too slow. Yeah,
that was my mechanic. Probably halfway through my first season, 88, when I was in Europe. He's the one that brought me over to Europe.
Yeah, you mentioned it to me.
Brought me over and introduced me basically to Europe. And in July, I went home because we have to break in the month of July. Yeah. I went home, and when I came home, he was working for Beta Monet.
Right.
I fly back, and he was working for Beta Monet and literally just left me hanging.
Oh, shit.
So, I mean, nice guy, but, he had, I guess, things to do for himself.
Yeah. I've got Simon Mantor. He put, probably the best and most honest interview I have ever seen. Thank him from all of us, Lee.
Thank you, bud. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Just one of my questions that I wrote down was there was quite a famous interview that we all know about in Europe and the UK especially. We watch on YouTube. It was I remember you were in the gym, and it was just before you signed for BFE Suzuki, I think, because that was the end of the KTM season, wasn't it? And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and you said that you remembered you felt like that if you were ever remembered for the way you rode and the way you were in general, that would mean the world to you more than anything. Obviously now, some 20 years odd later, what do you feel that all these guys and all these people, even just in the UK alone, and myself and many, many thousands of people, how does that make you feel that we're all so still honoured to be in your company, to be fair?
I am so completely flabbergasted. You know, I don't even know what to say about it.
Yeah.
Because literally with the way social media is now and everything,
yeah,
that literally my name now seems bigger now than it even was when I was racing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's more pictures of me out there than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's mad.
And it's insane. And I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like I said, I'm in awe of it.
Yeah.
And I thank God that I rode the wheels off the bikes when I did. Yeah. And I hung it out like I did, and I did everything I could, you know, for the fans. Yeah. I was always the last one there at the track signing autographs. I was always giving out my gear and stuff. You know, I would go into the beer tent and buy beers for everybody. And, you know, I never put myself on a level above anybody else because I wasn't. I was just another guy there, you know, just lucky. I was lucky enough to be able to go fast.
Yeah.
So it just amazes me that, you know, how it is. It's unbelievable.
What did you? Yeah.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah. The British guys. What did you think of the British motocross guys? You sort of your Thorpes and Malins. You remember
I got along with all the guys, the racers. They were, I mean, good guys. I mean, they just, I don't know if European guys always train different than I did.
Yeah.
You know, everybody in Europe, they always train different because I trained in the gym and I trained real hard and heavy, but I also rode 7 days a week. The European guys don't like to ride 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, I rode every day that I could get my leg over a bike because I just wanted to be natural, always on the bike. That's just the way I was raised.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but just hanging out and running amok, I did a lot of running around with the guys from England. Yeah. You know, because there was always English guys around. You know, we were, you know, I spoke English, they spoke English. So we kind of hung out together. Yeah.
I remember sort of when you was in the 90s in Europe and the GPs, I suppose the ones you race with, I suppose Rob Herring was quick guy at that time, around that period.
Herring was there, Dobbs was there.
Yeah, Dobb, yeah.
Group of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all good.
Yeah. So you would, if that passport thing could ever get sorted out, then you would come over to the UK then?
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone's been mentioning it.
Well, I even have a friend over there that is a barber.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, he's a motocross fan and all that. He rides and stuff, but he's also a licensed barber, you know, over there in the UK.
Yeah.
And he said if I get that squared away, that literally I could go over there and cut hair too.
Oh,
that's another thing that's another thing I'd like to do would come over there and, you know, stay a little bit longer or whatever than what I'm supposed to. But, you know, put it up, get it out there, put it up and cut some hair.
Yeah, because I was speaking to Carl Bowfield.
Yep, there you go.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Because we we raced together in the UK, and he mentioned he mentioned about that you did a trip together to Glen Helen, and
yep, exactly.
He said it was amazing.
That's the guy we're talking about right there.
Yeah.
He came out here to get his hair cut and everything.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I was speaking to him the other day about it.
Yeah, and like he totally invited me if I come over. He said you go to his shop and cut hair and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, shit, I'd love to. You know, there's a lot of things I'd like to do if I could get that squared away.
I think you wouldn't have any problem with kits and bikes and things like that. I think everyone would be tripping over to give you anything we've got over it. There's already people on here now saying, please sort a passport. You could have a go on my KX 500, and there would be all sorts. I think anyone would die to have you on their bike, to be fair.
Well, if I came over for the vet race, I don't think I'd be able to ride because of my neck and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe a lap around or something. So just kind of say hi to everybody. But I definitely couldn't race. There's no way. I'm not in shape and all that stuff. First off, but I don't want to take a chance and be stuck in a wheelchair or something.
Yeah, that's not cool, is it? Even if you could come over and just see everyone, I think everyone would be happy.
Exactly.
Happy with that.
Exactly. I'd come over and say hi to everybody. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think you'd have a flying business over here with the haircutting as well. Everyone's going, I'd have my haircut. I'd have my haircut.
I mean, and it's crazy because I would have never guessed, back in the day when I was racing, that my next passion in life. I mean, I literally love cutting hair as much as I loved racing.
Oh, right, okay.
And I really put that much into it. I mean, I really enjoy it. It's my next thing. It's cool.
I've had a couple of lads that did ask me to try and get a shout out. Rob Hillier asked if you could say hi. So that's Rob.
All right, hey, what's up, Rob?
There's my man Vaughan Williams. He's a schoolboy champion over here. You give him a shout out, Vaughan.
What's his name? Vaughn?
Vaughan Williams.
What's up? What's on, Vaughn? What's going on, buddy?
And a good one for today is there was a lad. I've just done his interview. He's a UK. He did the schoolboys in the UK. Kevin Wheeler. It was his birthday today as well. Kevin Wheeler.
Oh shit! Happy birthday, Kevin.
Yeah, so that was cool. Yeah. There's guys are all literally saying love Mike. Everyone else has been saying again one of the most honest interviews I've ever seen. This day and age, so honest.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I really do.
Someone's put a Farley Castle barbershop.
Hey, if I can get there, I would do it.
Yeah,
honest, guys. If I could get a passport, I would find a way to put together a barber shop over there, and we'll go for it.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable, honestly.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or anything, Mike, before we go?
No, I just want to thank you for doing it, for bringing me back into this. It's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
It's been an absolute honour and a privilege to speak to you, that's for sure, mate.
I appreciate it. And stay in touch with me, man, okay?
Yeah, 100%. If that's all right with you, I'd love to.
Yeah, definitely. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Top man, Mike. I really appreciate that, mate. It's been absolutely awesome.
Buddy. Thank you.
I'll hit you up with a link for this because I'll put it on YouTube and stuff, and then if you want to share it on your page or anything like that.
All right, sounds cool. I appreciate it.
Top man. I'll just say bye to the guys now, and then I'll say bye to you. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Yep. I'll hold on.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that with Mike. Awesome. I'll load this up later on. Thanks, guys.